Minnesota may either be the best place for you to live or the worst place for you to live. It really just depends on what your lifestyle is and what it is that you're looking for. My name is Lola. I'm your favorite realtor with your favorite collective. And today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of living in Minnesota. So if you're considering a move here, you might want to stick around. I want to start off with the pros, and I might be a little biased, but just bear with me a little while. First, I want to talk about the economy and the job market. Minnesota has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the US, and we're home to 17 Fortune 500 companies, including Target, General Mills, and 3M. Our median household income is $84,000, which is above the national average. And our biggest industries include healthcare, tech, and finance. We also have one of the largest industries for manufacturing work in the US. If that doesn't scream opportunity to you, I don't know what does. Next, we have a high quality of life. Minnesota is consistently ranked as one of the best states to live in the United States, if you can beat the cold, obviously, which we're going to talk about later in the cons. But back to what I was saying, we have some of the best public schools in the US, including Edina, Wayzata, and Minnetonka. And as a parent who has a child with special needs, their IEP programs are beautiful, amazing, just chef's kiss. And despite what some Minnesotans may think, we have extremely low poverty rates compared to a lot of states. Now, if you've been doing research on Minnesota, you know that we're the land of 10,000 lakes, which is not necessarily true. We actually have closer to about 15,000. So summers are absolutely spent on the water all the time here, whether you're boating, kayaking, fishing, swimming, paddleboarding, kayaking, fully expect to be on the water. And if you don't know how to swim, you should probably get swimming lessons now. We have the Boundary Waters and Voyageurs National Park. If you love activities like camping and hiking, we also have the North Shore. Speaking of hiking, if that's your thing, we have one of the best rated long distance trails in the United States. It's called the Superior Hiking Trail. Next, let's talk about Minnesota Nice. Some people will tell you it's a thing, and some people will tell you that it's just another term for Minnesotans being passive aggressive. And the truth is that it's a little bit of both. The people here tend to be friendly and helpful. However, they do not particularly enjoy confrontation. So that's where the passive aggressiveness is going to come in. I've heard from transplants that it is really hard to make friends in Minnesota. And while I do think that's true anywhere, I think there's so many different activities for you to try, so many communities for you to go see, so many events for you to attend where it is completely possible to create those friendships. And once you build them, I would expect them to last as long as you feel you need them to. I personally feel that we do have a very strong community in general. There's always something going on. There's always an event, no matter the weather. There's always some festival, and we celebrate so many different cultures, and we're a hugely diverse area, and you're going to be able to find your people no matter who they are or what they look like. Now, let's talk about cost of living. So if we're comparing Minnesota to one of the coast states like New York and California, we are pretty reasonable in cost of living. Housing in cities like Minneapolis, Rochester, Duluth, you're going to find a median home value of $350,000. Speaking of cost of living, you should probably know that clothing and groceries are tax-free. Now let's talk about some of the cons of living in Minnesota. So we do get some pretty harsh winters. Now, obviously not as harsh compared to Canada or Alaska. However, we do happen to get into the negative some winters sometimes. And if you're not used to driving in the snow, this may be really hard for you to adjust because roads get slick and icy, and black ice is completely a thing. What's going to happen is all that melted snow is going to freeze. It's going to look like the road when it's not really the road. And the worst thing about winter, besides the cold, is that once daylight savings hits, it starts to get dark here about 4 to 5 o'clock. So it stays dark for a while, for at least 2 months out of the winter. However, there is a bright side to this, and honestly, it's that Minnesotans fully embrace their winter, and if you work on doing that same thing, you're going to be just fine here. Hockey is a huge sport in Minnesota. People love to ice fish. There's skiing, snowboarding, snow tubing, sledding. We have all those things available. We even have a winter carnival and ice castles that you can go to, so there's a lot of activities for you to do even still when it's cold outside. Just make sure that you're layering with thermals and get yourself a nice puffer jacket because you're going to need it. Another con to living in Minnesota is the mosquitoes. In the summer, mosquitoes can get pretty brutal. And because we have so much wetland, so many lakes, the mosquitoes here are a little bit heavier maybe compared to somewhere else that doesn't have as many lakes or doesn't have as many water sources. Now, we do have one of the highest state income taxes, and honestly, this can either be a pro or a con for you. The reason why is because we have great healthcare. We have people constantly working on the roads, which is also a good and bad thing. We now have free lunches for all kids in schools. It doesn't matter what your income is. So all of these state taxes are going to amazing things and you're contributing to making this amazing place to live. But I guess if that's not something you're into, then the high taxes may turn you off. So let's recap. Minnesota may be a great fit for you if you love doing things outdoors, whether it's hiking, biking, walking, boating, kayaking, all of the things. If you're a nature seeker, this might be the place for you. Also, if you're looking for great job opportunities, if you're a family that's looking for a place to settle down with great school districts, and if you love having all 4 seasons, because I know I can never spend a Christmas without snow, this may be the perfect place for you. But if you're not an outdoors person, maybe you're looking for a busier life, or you're just not a fan of the weather, it might not be the right fit for you. We have just honestly, though, a great balance of health, life, schools, outdoor activities. So it's really up to you to decide whether or not it makes sense for you. So what do you think? Would you guys move to Minnesota? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you can see more content about moving to Minnesota and all the things that you need to know.